Hey everyone, and welcome to Noise in a Book. Today I'm going to be reviewing Plutocrats, The Rise of the Global Super Rich and the Fall of Everyone Else by Chrystia Freeland. I could probably just look at the book to see if I got the title right. I really liked this book. So this is a nonfiction book. I don't read a lot of nonfiction, and it's also not biographical. Plutocrats is about the world's wealthiest 0.1% and how their income every year eclipses billions of people's combined incomes. Chrystia Freeland did a very good job at staying very neutral about however anyone feels about the super rich or the middle class or the poor. She doesn't really get into that. She talks a lot about how the world's wealthiest 1% came about their money. She talks about their education. She talks about their personalities and a lot of what they all have in common. And it really seemed to me at the end of the day, if you want to be incredibly wealthy, if you just want to have a ton of money, you have to go into the right field, which right now is finance and technology, or there are also celebrities that make that kind of money that are in the world's wealthiest. You have to have a very specific education if you're not a celebrity. Athletes and actors and singer-songwriters, they're kind of in a different category, and she doesn't talk about them as much. She mostly talks about the CEOs and the bankers and those type of plutocrats. Most of them went to public school and then went to somewhere like Harvard or Stanford. Really just need to be lucky. They need to be born in the right place at the right time to the right parents. You have to make the right decision. You have to get in with the right company, and your product has to sell for the right amount of money. You have to make the right guess. The growing income disparity between the upper class and even the middle class, even between the 1% and the 0.1%, there is a huge gap. At times this book was kind of depressing because she doesn't really give any concrete solutions to the income inequality problem. She just mostly explores the world of the plutocrats and of the wealthiest global 0.1% and how their lives affect them and how they are really just completely ignorant to the way the rest of the world lives. Even those of them that came from a lower class really kind of say things sometimes that let us know that they have no idea what life is like for someone who doesn't have a salary. I'm really, really glad I read this book. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. It definitely expanded my viewpoint. Being from lower income, I don't have a college degree. I get 20 to 30 hours a week at my job. I'm kind of your average mid-20s American citizen. There are a lot of things that I didn't know. Something that I found really interesting is almost everybody in the 1%, at least in this country, has a charity, and they give substantial amounts of money to it. She also really explores the stress level. I mean, there's that whole expression of like, oh, poor little rich kid, and there was part of me that, being from where I'm from, I subscribe to that point of view, like, oh, you know, poor baby with all your money problems because you have too much of it. In reality, the stress is a lot higher the wealthier you are, especially in the 1% of the global rich, because there's such a disparity, there's such a difference between what the 0.1% makes and what the 1% makes, what everyone else in the 1% makes, that, yeah, it is difficult if the difference between you making that kind of money and the money you're actually making was being able to afford a private jet so that you could have a meeting in Japan in 3 hours and make it there, and your competitor has that private jet and you just don't make enough money, I can see how that would be incredibly stressful. I could be making a lot more money and doing a lot better for myself if I was willing to get a driver's license and have a car, but I'm not. It's that, just on a completely different level, because the more money you have, the more problems you have. Plutocrats. I thought it was exceptionally well written. She has an amazing sense of humor. I really felt that she kept the tone of something that is very serious and should be taken seriously, very light and very friendly, and she was very good at explaining things, but not making me feel like I was an idiot. I really like Chrystia Freeland. I might check out some more of her work. She did a TED Talks about the subject of this book, about the global 0.1%. So I will link that down in the doobly if you want to watch it. It's very good. Or if you think you might want to pick up this book if you're looking for something nonfiction. Her interviews with the Plutocrats are all very eye-opening and very interesting, and sometimes a little disturbing and a little heartbreaking. But we can't not look at reality just because it's not nice to look at. It's very important to know, like, basically what's going on with our economy and what's going on in our world and our country, because simply by existing, we are a part of it. And that is all that I have to say on Plutocrats. Well, I'm gonna try to post my February wrap-up and my March TBR on Friday. It's gonna be my very first wrap-up and TBR, and I'll do Friday reads. Since I'm gonna post it on Friday, I'll show you what I'm reading on Friday. I'm gonna go outside and play for a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back and record that video. Thank you so much for reading, and have a great day. It's beautiful here in Utah. It seems like spring is kind of coming out, and that's lovely. So I really want to go outside and play. But I'm also kind of concerned because it's February, and spring doesn't usually come in February in Utah. And the rest of the country is having just the worst winter ever. I feel like for a state that we have had winters where there's a blizzard every week, and now the rest of the country is dealing with that, it's kind of nice here. Coming out in Utah. Our winter hasn't been that bad this year.